Hello, Internet. It's time to read the Bible. B-I-B-L-E, the Bible, the Holy Word, etc., etc. Picking up in May 26th, we will begin with 2 Samuel chapter 9, verse 1 to chapter 11, verse 27. I have a, I don't really have a name for this voice. It's just kind of a generic creepy voice slash raspy voice based loosely on General Grievous.
One day David began wondering if any of Saul's family is still living, for he wanted to be kind to them, as he promised Prince Jonathan. He heard about a man named Ziba, who had been one of Saul's servants, and summoned him. "Are you Ziba?" the king asked. "Yes, sir, I am," he replied. The king then asked him, "Is anyone left from Saul's family? If so, I want to fulfill a sacred vow by being kind to him." "Yes," Ziba replied. "Jonathan's lame son is still alive." "Where is he?" the king asked. "In Lodebar," Ziba told him, "at the home of Machir." So King David sent for Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son and Saul's grandson. Mephibosheth arrived in great fear and greeted the king in deep humility, bowing low before him. But David said, "Don't be afraid. I've asked you to come so that I can be kind to you, because of my vow to your father, Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land your grandfather Saul, and you shall live here at Paris." Mephibosheth fell to the ground before the king. "Should the king show kindness to a dead dog like me?" he exclaimed. Then the king summoned Saul's servant Ziba. "I've given your master grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family," he said. "You and your sons and servants are to farm the land for him, to produce food for his family, but he will live there with me." Ziba, who had 15 sons and 20 servants, replied, "Sir, I will do all you have commanded." And from that time on, Mephibosheth ate regularly with King David, as though he were one of his own sons. Mephibosheth had a young son, Micah. All the household of Ziba became Mephibosheth's servants. But Mephibosheth, who was lame in both feet, moved to Jerusalem to live at the palace. Some time after this, the Ammonite king died, and his son Hanun replaced him. "I am going to show special respect for him," David, "because his father Nahash was always so loyal and kind to me." So David sent ambassadors to express great regrets to Hanun about his father's death. But Hanun's officers told him, "These men aren't here to honor your father. David has sent them to spy out the city before attacking it." So Hanun took David's men and shaved off half their beards and cut their robes off at the buttocks and sent them home half naked. When David heard what had happened, he told them to stay at Jericho until their beards grew out, for the men were very ashamed over their appearance. Now the people of Ammon realized how seriously they had angered David, so they hired 20,000 Syrian mercenaries from the lands of Rehob and Zobah, 1,000 from the king of Makkah, and 10,000 from the land of Tob. When David heard about this, he sent Joab and the entire Israeli army to attack them. The Ammonites defended the gates of their city, while the Syrians from Zobah Rehob, Tob, and Maacah fought in the fields. When Joab realized that he would have to fight on two fronts, he selected the best fighters in his army, placed them under his personal command, and took them out to fight the Syrians in the fields. He left the rest of the army to his brother Abishai, who was to attack the city. If I need assistance against Syrians, come out and help me, Joab instructed him. And if the Ammonites are too strong for you, I will come help you. Courage! We must really act like men today if we are going to save our people and the cities of our God. May the Lord well be done. And when Joab and his troops attacked, the Syrians began to run away. Then the Ammonites saw the Syrians running. They too ran and retreated into the city. Afterwards, Joab returned to Jerusalem. The Syrians now realized that they were no match for Israel. So when they regrouped, they were joined by additional Syrian troops summoned by Hadadezer from the other side of the Euphrates River. These troops arrived at Helam under the command of Shabok, the commander-in-chief of all Hadadezer's forces. When David heard what was happening, he personally led the Israeli army to Helam, where the Syrians attacked him. But again the Syrians fled from the Israelis, this time leaving 700 charioteers dead on the field, also 40,000 cavalrymen, including General Shobak. When Hadadezer's allies saw that the Syrians had been defeated, they surrendered to David and became his servants. And the Syrians were afraid to help the Ammonites any further after that. In the spring of the following year, at the time when the wars began, David sent Joab and the Israeli army to destroy the Ammonites. They began by laying siege to the city of Rabbah, but David stayed in Jerusalem. One night he couldn't get to sleep and went for a stroll on the roof of the palace. Oh, here we go. As he looked out over the city, he noticed a woman of unusual beauty taking her evening bath. He sent to find out who she was and was told that she was Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam and the wife of Uriah. Then David sent for her, and when she came, he slept with her. She had just completed the purification rites after menstruation. Then she returned home. When she found that he had gotten her pregnant, she sent a message to inform him. So David dispatched a memo to Joab. Send me Uriah the Hittite. When he arrived, David asked him how Joab and the army were getting along and how the war was prospering. Then he told him to go home and relax, and he sent a present to him at his home. But Uriah didn't go there. He stayed that night at the gateway of the palace with the other servants of the king. When David heard what Uriah had done, he summoned him and asked him, "What's the matter with you? Why didn't you go home to your wife last night after being away for so long?" Uriah replied, "The ark and the armies and the general and his officers are camping out in open fields. And should I go home to wine and dine and sleep with my wife? I swear that I will never be guilty of acting like that." "Well, stay here tonight," David told him, "and tomorrow you may return to the army." So Uriah stayed around the palace. David invited him to dinner and got him drunk. But even so, he didn't go home that night, but again he slept at the entry to the palace. Finally, the next morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and gave it to Uriah to deliver. The letter instructed Joab to put Uriah at the front of the hottest part of the battle, and then pull back and leave him there to die. So Joab assigned Uriah to a spot close to the besieged city where he knew that the enemy's best men were fighting, and Uriah was killed, along with several other Israeli soldiers. This is not part of the story, this is me talking. This is the single most horrible thing David ever did in his entire life, as far as I am concerned. And most would agree, I think. He slept with the man's wife, tried to trick him into sleeping with her so that no one would know what he had done. But Uriah was too good of a man, too honorable. He would not indulge in such things, while his fellows were in such straits. So David, in his shame, sent him to die, and even had him deliver his own execution orders. It's a terrible thing. Fear not, though. David will be punished for this, gravely so. But let us continue the story. Poor Uriah. I wonder why it doesn't say Uriah the Hittite. That is his full title. I don't know specifically why this particular passage is not saying Uriah the Hittite. Not that it matters, I don't even know what a Hittite is, but I'm just used to that phrase, Uriah the Hittite. Anyway, when Joab sent a report to David of how the battle was going, he told his messenger, if the king is angry and asks, why did the troops go so close to the city? Didn't they know there would be shooting from the walls? Wasn't Abimelech killed at Thebes by a woman who threw down a millstone on him? Then tell him, Uriah was killed too. So the messenger arrived at Jerusalem and gave the report to David. The enemy came out against us, he said. And as we chased them back to the city gates, the men of the war attacked us, and some of our men were killed. And Uriah the Hittite is dead too. Okay, they used it this time. Maybe I'm just misremembering. I thought he said that basically every time. Doesn't matter. Uriah the Hittite is dead too. Well, tell Joab not to be discouraged, David said. The sword kills one as well as another. Fight harder next time and conquer the city. Tell him he is doing well. When Bathsheba heard that her husband was dead, she mourned for him. Then, when the period of mourning was over, David sent for her and brought her to the palace, and she became one of his wives. And she gave birth to his son. But the Lord was very displeased with what David has done. His voice is becoming painful, but I will continue on. John chapter 15, verse 1 to 27. Oh, go to break because Jesus is talking. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He lops off every branch that doesn't produce, and he prunes those branches that bear fruit for even larger crops. He has already tended you by pruning you back for greater strength and usefulness by means of the commands I gave you. Take care to live in me, and let me live in you. For a branch can't produce fruit when severed from the vine, nor can you be fruitful apart from me. Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever lives in me and I in him shall produce a large crop of fruit. For apart from me you can't do a thing. If anyone separates from me, he is thrown away like a useless branch, withers, and is gathered into a pile with all the others, and burned. But if you stay in me and obey my commands, you may ask any request you like, and it will be granted. My true disciples produce bountiful harvests. This brings great glory to the Father. I have loved you even as the Father has loved me. Live within my love. When you obey me, you are living in my love, just as I obey my Father and live in his love. I have told you this so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your cup of joy will overflow. I demand that you love each other as much as I love you. And here is how to measure it. The greatest love is shown when a person lays down his life for his friends. And you are my friends if you obey me. I no longer call you slaves, for a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now you are my friends, proved by the fact that I have told you everything the Father told me. You didn't choose me. I chose you.
I appointed you to go and produce lovely fruit always, so that no matter what you ask for from the Father, using my name, he will give it to you. I demand that you love each other, for you get enough hate from the world. But then it hated me before it hated you. The world would love you if you belonged to it, but you don't. For I chose you to come out of the world, so it hates you. Do you remember what I told you? A slave isn't greater than his master. So since they persecuted me, naturally they will persecute you. And if they had listened to me, they would listen to you. The people of the world will persecute you because you belong to me, for they don't know God who sent me. They would not be guilty if I had not come and spoken to them, but now they have no excuse for their sin. Anyone hating me is also hating my Father. If I hadn't done such mighty miracles among them, they would not be counted guilty. But as it is, they saw these miracles, and yet they hated both of us, me and my Father. This is fulfilled what the prophets said concerning the Messiah. They hated me without reason. But I will send you the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, the source of all truth. He will come to you from the Father, and will tell you all about me. And you also must tell everyone about me, because you have been with me from the beginning. That's a very famous passage, and one I enjoy quite a bit. All right, just in case, reminder, that was John chapter 15, verses 1 through 27. So, ever need a little encouragement? You know, a little reminder of Jesus's the relationship. You know. Moving on to Psalms chapter 119, verses 53 through 70. Let me get the voice.
I am very angry with those who spurn your commands, for these laws of yours have been my source of joy and singing through all these years of my earthly pilgrimage. I obey them even at night and keep my thoughts, O Lord, on you. What a blessing this has been to me, to constantly obey. Jehovah is mine, and I promise to obey. With all my heart I want your blessings. Be merciful just as you promised. I thought about the wrong direction in which I was headed and turned around and came running back to you. Evil men have tried to drag me into sin, but I am firmly anchored to your laws. At midnight I will rise to give my thanks to you for your good laws. Anyone is my brother who fears and trusts the Lord and obeys him. O Lord, the earth is full of your loving kindness. Teach me your good paths. Lord, I am overflowing with your blessings, just as you promised. Now teach me good judgment as well as knowledge, for your laws are my guide. I used to wander off until you punished me. Now I closely follow all you say. You are good and do only good. Make me follow your lead. Proud men have made up lies about me. But the truth is that I obey your laws with all my heart. Their minds are dull and stupid, but I have sense enough to follow you. Finally, for today, we have Proverbs chapter 16, verses 1 through 3. 1, 2, 3, you might say. If I ever do a laugh for this one, I will have to practice. That sounded a little too creepy. But we can find a good laugh. Anyway, Proverbs. We can make our plans, but the final outcome is in God's hands. We can always prove that we are right. Proof was in quotations there. But is the Lord convinced? Commit your work to the Lord. Then it will succeed. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this reading. And As always, may God's blessings be upon you.